Alrighty guys, it is Qaamans here today, and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball Z segment directly correlated to the new upcoming movie, which is Dragon Ball Z Fukkatsu No F. And Black Invis and I were thinking about it, and unfortunately he can't join me right now, but him and I were thinking whether or not Goten and Trunks will have a big role in this, and Thundershot and I also talked about this as well, as we've all noticed that in these trailers we have not seen a single glimpse of Goten and Trunks. And I originally thought that this much actually mean a lot more for the series, because if they've been hiding them so much from all the trailers in addition to Majin Buu, then they could potentially either have something major done to them or a possible new character design that's not wanting to be revealed. So I invited Rhymestyle, Thundershot, and Josh today, as we will all have a discussion on whether or not Goten and Trunks will have a big role in the new upcoming movie, and I'd like to hear their thoughts. So, Dragon Ball Nation, would you like to inform on what you think?
The whole thing about Goten and Trunks not being in the trailers is something I have thought about, but not to the extent that you have. It is definitely interesting. Part of it could be because there are so many characters in Dragon Ball that they could just be leaving them out, but in every single trailer, them being left out is a little bit strange, yes. So there are definitely potential for bigger events to happen in the movie involving them. But, I mean, there's a lot that can definitely happen while that.
Well, in particular, what do you think could potentially happen as a part of it?
Well, I think that as far as Trunks goes, I'm not sure about Goten, but as far as Trunks, there could be something going on between Trunks and Frieza. Frieza maybe, having some sort of hostage situation with Trunks. It's kind of far-fetched, but it's a possibility. Anything can happen in this movie. We've seen all sorts of crazy things going on in the new trailers. As far as Goten, I have nothing to say about him, but Trunks, there are some things you can, come up with. But Goten, I have nothing to say, really.
What about you, Thunder?
I'm looking for it. I'm actually looking through it right now. I went to the very last episode of Dragon Ball Z. I'm trying to find if we actually see any shots of Goten and Trunks in the last episode of Dragon Ball Z. Because if they were going to get a character remodel, they would have to look like they did at the end of the series. And that's something that has been brought up in a lot of the videos. The last video we did, where we kind of mentioned how we hope a little bit that maybe the child that Gohan and Videl have isn't Pan, and that we can kind of erase GT. A lot of people in the comment section were pointing out, well, Pan's in the last episode of Z. I mean, and all this stuff that has to be true because the last episode of Z. And I'm really hoping myself, and this might be a little off topic, that they also erase that last episode of Z. That's just them at the World Tournament, Oob, all that shit. Pan. I hope that all that just kind of gets lumped and thrown away with this whole new manga line. I know that would be kind of iffy. He'd be crossing over and eliminating some of the old manga, but that's what I'm hoping for. But no, essentially with Goten and Trunks, there's pretty much two options. Either there has been a massive character redesign. If we're lucky and that ending to Z is erased, maybe Goten and Trunks have been training the whole time and they could be incredibly strong at this point. Maybe not quite as strong as Vegeta or something like that, but they could be incredibly strong before they fuse at this point. Or they haven't been shown because they're away at summer camp. And those are those are pretty much my two thoughts. It would be super awesome in this new movie to see a Super Saiyan 3 teen Gotenks, I think. Or even like a Super Saiyan 1 or 2 Goten and Trunks in their teen state. That would be kind of cool. But maybe, yeah, Trunks is going to have to start looking a little bit like future Trunks from the alternate timeline did when they retold that story. But other than that, I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts on the whole thing.
And Thunder, what would you say in regards to the Majin Buu not being shown at all? Do you think that could have a potential part of the
They haven't shown Fat Buu in the new movie at all? He'll be there. He'll be hanging out with Hercule or something, but he'll be there is my guess.
It's funny because
I've always said to myself that if push comes to shove, if Frieza's too strong, just turn him into chocolate and eat him and call it a day.
it's funny that you even bring up Majin Buu because I didn't think about it. Because remember, Frieza's dad, when Frieza comes back to life in the first chapter of his manga, small spoiler, not a huge spoiler, just a heads up, but Frieza's dad tells Frieza, or like Frieza says that his dad told him not to mess with two beings in the universe, one being Majin Buu and one being Beerus. So it's gonna be interesting to see Frieza react to even seeing Majin Buu when and if that actually happens in the movie.
It will be interesting to see him react, but you have to remember that Frieza knows he's going to be stronger than Goku after Goku beat Majin Buu.
Good point.
So he knows he's
point.
going to be stronger than Boo at least. He does, and that's the awesome thing. And again, this is still like minor. I'm not even going to go into it, but that's the awesome thing that it's gearing up for. To counter your point though, Kwame, that says push comes to shove, Boo just turns Frieza into chocolate and eat him. That did not happen with Beerus, and they legitimately thought he was going to blow up the planet.
I was just having
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
But Rhymestyle, what are your all-around thoughts as this as a whole? Do you think it could be, you know, part of design or plot, or what do you think?
Actually, I have a very alternate theory on why they haven't shown Goten and Trunks yet. They're not major characters. I mean, if you look at Battle Gods, they were just like there for fun. Like, there's Goten and Trunks. They're being kids and stuff. Like, they're just there. And I don't like what I think is going to happen with this movie is I think they're just going to be more on the comedy relief side, where they'll pop up, but they're not going to have like major roles in like everybody else.
Because look at how bad, the comedy relief thing. Look at how bad they got dumped on in Battle of Gods, for example.
Yeah, because Gotenks is technically considered like one of the top warriors in the universe, right? So it's like even Gotenks in Battle of Gods was a complete joke, and like wasn't like Goten and Trunks on the whole Gotenks thing even supposed to be more of a joke thing when the Majin Buu saga came out originally? Like they were never considered major characters. They were just there. At least that's how I see it.
Well, the thing is, Rhymestyle, that when you really think about it, I mean, Fukkatsu No F has showed a lot of other minor characters too, like, you know, Tien and Krillin and Piccolo. So you would think like, I hate saying that because, you know, Piccolo's my favorite. But, you know, they showed a lot of minor characters, and I was like, well, if they're showing these guys, then they would have to show at least something of Goten and Trunks, and they didn't even show them. And I remember that you and Thundershot originally reported when the new poster was revealed that image was, you know, we believed it to have been Goten, when in fact it was later revealed to actually be Gohan.
Right.
So I feel like they should have shown at least something, and the fact that they're not is really showing something, which leads me into my theory. And here's my theory. I was saying in my trailer reaction, if you guys want to check it out, look in the description, and I'm sure these guys will link it too, that originally Frieza was defeated by both Goku and Trunks. And Goku looks exactly like Goten, or at least similar enough. Even Gohan looks a lot like Goku to some degree, with the exception of hair. And Trunks looks like basically a younger version of himself who actually killed Frieza. And speaking of which, based off of time sequences, Trunks should look a lot closer to what the future Trunks that came back looked like, because he's getting a lot older now. So, with all of that taken into account, you gotta factor in that at some point, you would say that Frieza would look at Goten and Trunks and say, oh, this kid looks just like Goku, the one who beat me on Namek, and this kid looks just like the little kid from the future who killed me. Well, he wouldn't know he was from the future. And I feel like if Frieza interacts with Goten and Trunks, he's going to either capture them, torture them, or do something that would force Vegeta into making a tough decision. Because we saw later on, as Black and Fist reported from the Japanese translated version of the trailer, that Frieza says, Vegeta, would you like to join my empire, or something along those lines. And if Vegeta would ever consider doing that, my choice would be that Frieza would probably take Trunks hostage, or potentially put Bulma in a very, very, very dangerous situation where Vegeta really has no choice, that he would have to make a decision like that. Now, we all agree that Vegeta wouldn't ever join Frieza, but that's what I think. I think that Goten and Trunks are going to have something major, because the fact that they're not showing them, and the fact that Goten and Trunks resemble Goku and Trunks so much, I think that there's no way you can't make the connection, especially with the fact that Trunks kind of looks like Vegeta with the exception of hair and some features. So that's ultimately why I thought that this was a great topic, because I'd like to hear what you guys think in addition to everybody else who's watching this, because it's really interesting to really see that, you know, throughout the series, you would think that at some point, you know, Goten and Trunks would have a much bigger role, and who knows, maybe they might actually have a bigger role in this movie than what's seen. And as far as Majin Buu goes, maybe he's a part of the project, maybe he babysits Goten and Trunks or something, but at this point they're old enough, they probably don't even need something like that. That's what some subscribers were saying in my other video. So I'm really excited to see this movie, and do you guys have any final thoughts?
They're definitely in summer camp, as Thundershot said.
This is the way at summer camp, they're learning how to make rafts and stuff like that.
They're just gonna show up at the end of the movie like, hey,
no,
what we miss?
I do like your idea, the theory that Frieza will kind of have the Broly effect, like when Broly sees Goten, he's like Kakarot, and then Frieza could do that and see the two people that killed him. I think that's super interesting to consider. And then maybe Frieza freaks the hell out when they fuse or something, and be. They're combining. No, that would be an awful flashback. But no, that's a good one.
Plot twist: they're actually the ones who kill Frieza at the end of the movie.
That would be funny. Who knows? You know what? If like we said, if Majin Buu could turn Frieza into chocolate, who knows? Maybe Goten could turn him into a volleyball and just throw him in outer space.
Do you guys,
But,
real quick before we go though, do you guys think Frieza will even actually amount to Beerus in terms of power? Do you think they could actually fight and throw down? Because it seems like
I think he'll be stronger.
The vibe I'm getting from everything to me feels like, and part of this is I know it's a video game, so you can't actually take it for what it is, but part of me is implementing Beerus's attitude in that you see in Xenoverse. And if you haven't got there, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the attitude Beerus has in Xenoverse, if he takes that same approach with the whole with the Fukkatsu No F thing, that would be kind of interesting. And that would mean Frieza would definitely be a huge challenge to Goku, but maybe not quite at the level that Beerus and Whis are at. So that could be another cool character development, but that's just me. I'm not sure if Frieza's going to be stronger than Beerus or not, though.
I mean, that's really interesting, but at the end of the day, I'm sure we all agree that, I mean, to close it out, would you guys say Goten and Trunks have a major or a minor role in this film?
I think Trunks
Definitely
will have
minor
a
for
pretty
me.
big role as far as Frieza recognizing him, because I think he definitely will recognize, but I agree with Rhymestyle in the fact that he did say that they will be like minor characters, and they always have been side characters, so that's probably a big reason why they haven't been in the trailers, really.
Yeah. My vote's minor. It would be super cool if you were right and they were hiding them because they're going to have some new awesome, like, kick-ass look and they're actually going to show up and be heroes, but because, like, they're not putting them, they haven't put them on the poster at all or anything like that, I think they're going to be very minor characters if they're not away at summer camp.
Well, guys, I'll just close this out by saying that based off of ages, I mean, if this really does take place 3 years after the events of Dragon Ball, and Goten and Trunks should have been 11 and 12 in Battle of Gods, even though they looked actually younger than what they were in the Buu Saga, they should respectively be 15 and 14. So they should actually look, I guess you could say Trunks should look close in age to what he was in the history of Trunks when he was like a 14-year-old. And it would be like prior to when he had actually came back. So that's kind of like the physical type of development that they should have. So, I mean, they should definitely look older. Hopefully, they don't mess it up this time and, you know, we get a great movie. But, that's been our video for today, guys. Everybody will be posted in the description for you to check them out. And if you're watching it on their channel, check out everybody that you see in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed. And most importantly, over everything else, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.